Hi group, it's Kylie Waltz. I'm this week's person. So I'm going to talk about two concepts from the reading and hopefully make this 10 minutes. Socialization and then the elements of culture. So socialization is basically when, and I'm writing off notes, but socialization is basically when new employees become acclimated to the culture of a new workplace. So like when you first get into your new job and you have no idea what's going on, and you ask the other employees when break time is and stuff like that. So there's the preliminary socialization, which is like the hiring process and the interview. So all of us, I'm sure, have gone through interviews, and you kind of get a feel for like what the company is and all that, and how it all works, and if you do want to really be there. So candidates form expectations of what it will be like to be there from the text. Formal socialization is more like orientation or training programs. So those want to focus on altering the new employee's behavior to align with what the company wants. So my best example of this is I used to work for MGM Grand, and if you've ever worked for a casino, they put you through some crazy orientations. My orientation, I was a lifeguard. I did it twice for the summer. But my orientation was 3 days long. I wasn't even at the MGM the first day. They have like a corporate headquarters where they do all of their training. So it was like a big 3-day ordeal. I had to take time off my job I was quitting because I was trying to work out my 2-week notice to be at the orientation. But it was pretty cool. Like it went over everything. They really wanted to create unity throughout the different departments. So like I was in groups with engineers for the Ka Theater and maids for the hotel, and box office people, like people I wouldn't generally be working with as a lifeguard. And I think I would assume they would do that so that you kind of know people in the casino, because they have a lot of employees. Like there's a lot. The casino's huge, and I actually worked for the MGM Grand Casino, not just the company, like corporate or something. But anyway, I'll get back to that. Let me go through my notes. So informal socialization is different than formal socialization, because informal socialization is where you're going to make the most effective and lasting socialization. So that's when you're talking to the people who work there. You're asking when break time is. As a lifeguard, it was always, how long can we really stay in the back before they kick us out, to go on stand. So it's like those kind of things that they don't necessarily cover in the training manual, but just kind of the whole vibe of the department that you're in. And lifeguarding was very laid back at MGM. It was cool. Made some good friends. So socialization is passed down to preserve the company's values, because when you go into socialization and you're new, you're going to be socialized by people who already work there, and then you're going to become socialized, and then you're going to see other people who are new, and then you're going to socialize them. And then even if you leave, the people that you socialized are still there to socialize more. So the company's values really never leave. They never really change through the process of socialization, which is pretty cool. So yeah, on socialization, just my training, my orientation for MGM, like we played games, we learned a lot about the company, we learned the entire company history, and we had like quizzes, and not like for grades, but they were like trivia, like we won a candy bar or something if my group got a question right or something. So it was really made to kind of ingrain the company's values and the company history into us, going into MGM when we were like, yay, now we're a part of this, because it's a cool thing to be a part of. I mean, you put an MGM Grand on your resume and you can really work anywhere. I mean, that's a big thing. And people know that, like with the orientation and the training process, that it's a pretty big deal to be working for one of the top companies in Las Vegas. So their orientation and their training reflects that. Again, lifeguarding, very different. Once you get into the department, a lot more lenient, but really cool people. Okay, so the elements of culture. So there are 6 elements of corporate culture, and that's like culture as a whole, like how your whole vibe is, I guess, is a decent word to use. So the first one is their vision or their mission statement, which is really important to know in a company, because you really, like as an employee, you really need to be abiding by those values, because you're expected to. You don't go to MGM Grand and the first person you talk to is not friendly. Like, that just doesn't happen. And if it does, then they're not aligning with company values. So like an example is like, I used to work for MGM, but for a while. So I looked up their mission statement because that's just my example. But they are the leader in entertainment and hospitality, a diverse collection of extraordinary people, distinctive brands, and best-in-class destinations. Working together, we create partnerships and experience that engage, entertain, and inspire. And that's really like they're going to go down to their core values, is what they expect from their employees. They're a top entertainment group in Las Vegas and internationally, actually. They're expecting their employees to engage, entertain, and inspire. And it's really important in the socialization process to kind of pass that down onto new employees if you're already there for a while. So number 2 would be values. Those are different from mission statements because they're going to offer a set of guidelines on the behavior needed to achieve that vision. So that's going to be like, here's your mission statement. Here are the steps to do that. So just an example, I think it wasn't quite clearly stated on the website, but I did try. So MGM says, and it was numbered, number 1 was develop and create extraordinary experiences. Number 2, provide consistent and outstanding guest service, which is huge, in the hospitality division, career, whatever. Number 3, build and sustain the communities in which we work and live, because we are all locals who work there. And number 4, be respectful, inclusive, and responsible in all we do, which, is really important in hospitality. So number 3 would be their practices, so how they put that practice in place. So that's going to be how they train people, how those people represent the company. Number 4 is going to be people, the people who work there. They do still have to be selective, of who works there, because they have to align with their values, which you'll get to, the people who are hiring you are trying to align you with their values and make sure that you can align with MGM Grand's values. What I've noticed in really corporate places like MGM, since the training and orientation is a lot. I was wiped out, and I went through orientation twice. Is that there's not a whole lot of turnover of people. People generally stay, especially in casinos. People generally stay. Lifeguard department, I still know people who are there. They stay. Especially like with the training, 3 days, and then I did get free CAW tickets, which was awesome. And I got those twice, because if you're disassociated from the company for too long, they make you retake orientation. And since lifeguarding is in the summer, I didn't quite hit that mark where I could just kind of rehire in. But again, they already knew me, they already knew I worked, and they knew that I aligned with company values, so they had no problem rehiring me. I didn't really have to go through a whole lot of paperwork stuff. I just did have to do the orientation again. Number 5 is the narrative, which is basically the history. And again, the company will tell you their history, especially super corporate-y. It's important because their history defines who they are. MGM Grand started as, one casino, and now we're, 90% of the Strip. I mean, really? Yeah, I'm just trying to count casinos you have to pay parking at. It's one thing bad about MGM, I do not like to pay for parking. So, their history is really a solid part of the company culture. And number 6 is going to be the place, like where the culture all takes place. For MGM, there's a huge employee dining room, big like underground space where there were like gym classes, there was counseling, there was human resources, there was a lot of help in case you're struggling with something. There was some fun stuff. They were really, really big into volunteering. And they put on talent shows every year or so. I mean, I didn't attend any of that because I was a lifeguard and I was a teenager, basically. So that wasn't really my thing. But I mean, going in now, I would definitely do that as an adult. So really, how they treat their people defines their culture. I ran over 10 minutes, so I'm not going to keep you guys. I'm going to go ahead and post a discussion question, which is going to have to do with how you were socialized in a company. You're probably exactly that. Anyway, guys, thanks for listening to my over 10-minute video. I will be around and try not to respond to your comments too late because I was late last time. Anyway, bye.